name is Marie Singleton, and today we're going to be talking about gun control and mental health. According to the Gun Violence Archive, a mass shooting is described as 4 or more individuals being shot or killed in the same general time and location. The FBI, however, have their own definition of a mass shooting, which is 3 or more people, not including the shooter, that has been shot in the same location. In 2017, the number of mass shootings within the span of 309 days was 307 mass shootings, and that was updated as of November 5th, 2017. As a matter of fact, let's zone into 2017. There have been approximately 307 mass shootings. While there have been 307 mass shootings, the result of gun violence in a whole has over 15,000 died and far over 500 injured, with a very large sum of these shootings. Mental health has been the cause. While we cannot exactly control who gets a gun, we can control guns from getting into the hands of those who are not mentally stable enough to handle one, at least to those that go about getting one legally. Out of these 14 mass shootings shown, only 3 have been deemed mentally stable, which are these 3 here. And they're the 3 up top right here. Christopher Dorner, his was work-related. Wade Michael Page was a hate crime, and Kurt Myers refused to give his motive. The other 11 have been either deemed mentally ill or have been found to have a history of mental illness. That is 80 claims of mass shootings attributed by claims of mental illness, and 20% varying from hate crime, work-related, and just simply refusing to give their motive. One of the biggest school shootings that did, in fact, hurt the nation was that of Sandy Hook shooting in December of 2012, done by Adam Lanza, who was found to be schizophrenic. I had said it wrong, but I'm sorry. Holy frick. Okay. As you can see, specifically focusing on the year of 1982 on to about 1990 to 1995, the highest has been at about 35 for mass shootings. There has been a ban on assault weapons from about 1995 to 2005, which you can see the peak of that was about 43, we'll just say. After 2005 to the year of 2015, the highest sparked up to about 71, which was even higher during the assault weapons ban and before. Anything after that was too high to even and in 2018, that's the prediction and in hopes that it'll go down. And now after the ban on assault weapons is over, we have only wished our fatalities were 35 in the span of 13 years. And instead, within the first 10 years after the ban, the highest fatality that can even fit on this graph is 70. Americans are more likely to die of gun violence than every other leading cause due to mental illnesses combined, such as motor vehicle accidents, illness and disease, non-motor vehicle accidents, and non-firearm suicide and homicide. And other homicide and suicide. Other could be labeled as mass shootings or whatever your little heart desires to put in there. 18 has been homicide and 10 has been suicide. This graph only covers specifically young men ages 15 to 19, which is mostly the target that age range is for mass shootings and gun violence. Aside from mass shootings, over 14,000 people have died and over 29,000 injured. At this point, something has to happen. And people suggest more gun laws, a tighter hold on the gun laws. But why should we add more when we know exactly what the problem is? It's been said that typically 4 assumptions arise at the thought of mass shootings or gun violence. Mental illness is the cause of the acting out. That psychiatric can actually diagnose when or even if someone is planning a mass shooting or gun violence. And that mental illness often show their true colors of deranged mental ill owners after the fact. And lastly, enhanced gun laws that are already in action won't prevent another school shooting. By all means, based on my research and this topic, that all is very true. And very strong signs of mental illness do emerge during the aftermath of a mass shooting, serving as reasoning. A lot of these shootings can also arise from anger due to social class, race, ethnicity, and lastly, politics. Here is a graph, and it's categorizing which most to blame for mass shootings is, and it's failure of mental health system and identifying dangerous individuals. Right now, in order to get a gun license, the only thing preventing you mentally, according to your mental health, is if you have been reported as mentally ill or mentally unstable enough to own a firearm, and that's only if you seek psychiatric help. 13% is current gun laws, unstable family situations, media, and violence in video games is a big one, which is towards younger audience. And the problem. So here we're looking more at other countries such as Australia. Under the age of 25, 75% are not due to mental health issues, and 25% are. Then again, in Australia alone, 70% of them don't seek help at all. The real question for me is, why do people that have only been reported psychiatrically have to be unable to get a firearm when it's pretty clear that they should not have one? When in turn, between 30 to 80% of people that suffer from mental illness never seek the help that they need. And the fact that we did this is so much to the point where guns get stolen and we simply just try to replace them. The stolen guns are then sold and get into the wrong hands. This problem is something that is becoming almost like a tradition in America, and it's something that happens, and instead of it being good and whole, we celebrate when the numbers aren't the slightest bit lower. If we didn't change it, mass shootings will become as common for America as, and is beginning to notice how easy it is to get a gun with or without a license while being manipulative enough to get one. Let's step a little more into the mental side rather than mass shootings specifically caused by mental illness. This graph shows global antidepressant users per 1,000 people, and the United States is the highest. Lowest we have Korea, Chile, Slovak Republic, all these other countries. Now, what really does that change? And gun violence doesn't always have to be against other people. As you can see here, most of our gun violence is suicide, but we're still also, our homicide level is France's suicide level. And going back to this slide, this shows two things. It contradicts this one by saying antidepressants don't always serve their purpose, and it does not always mean that it will cure or help your depression. And it also shows more of the people that don't seek help and the people that feel that suicide is the answer because they feel that either help isn't given to them or even when they're just completely ignored because a lot of people take suicide as a joke. Antidepressants also don't, as I said before, serve the purpose. While on antidepressants, you could act aggressively, you can be more angry or violent, and there are a lot of antidepressants where their side effects and main and most common side effect is suicidal thoughts and actions. According to the Gun Violence Archive, once again, a mass shooting, no, that's the first one, sorry. To be more, some of these antidepressants are found to be no more effective than placebo, which is a name given to anything that seems to help with mental disorders such as marijuana, THC, or CBD. People feel that it calms them down, and it's just the same. In turn, while mass shootings are skyrocketing in America, we still have time before they completely get out of control. One of the biggest reasons for seeking mental help is the fact of fear. Now, 1 in 4 young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 have diagnosable mental illness, and as I said before, 30 to 80% still don't seek help. So it's not like these people are just, in disguise. They've shown traits of people that need help. It was just never provided to them. 64% of young adults who are no longer in college are not attending college because of a mental health related reason. 40% of students with diagnosable mental health conditions did not seek help, and 57% of them did not request accommodations from their school, such as when we get assemblies talking about mental health and how there is help. A lot of people don't take that serious or as serious as they should. This graph here is the percentage of people who have been asked if they believe people in their household, including themselves, need mental health. A lot of people said no, 78%. People said yes, 21%, and people just don't know, or either they refuse help that was provided for them. And one of the main characteristics of someone that has schizophrenia is completely denying help. And this is something that serves it in a whole. It has a lot to do with our system, I believe. It's not what happens in the home, and it's not as influential as we think. It's the fact that these people have such easy access legally to these weapons. 18% got it from an illegal source, that's a thing. 3%, they don't know where they got it from. And 70% of people that actually take part, very large parts in gun violence, got it from a legal source. They have a gun license, and it was given to them for free because they were not reported as people that don't need a firearm. And 1% got it from a legal and unknown source.